The Minnesota Wild made multiple moves with more coming on the horizon as this training camp roster and throughout preseason is now being cut down by quite a bit. However, multiple names that Wild fans are still super excited for still remain and will have a very good chance of cracking this roster. We're going to be breaking it down, going over who they're discussing here, what names are surprising a lot of Wild fans and ready to make this NHL roster. Before we do jump into this video though, I ask you one favor, and that's if you haven't hit the sub button already, ladies and gentlemen, to do so. We are so close to 2,000 subscribers. Your support's been phenomenal. I appreciate all of you guys watching these videos, especially now when we're getting so close to the season now. But we got to jump straight into this because obviously so many moves have been made with so many more coming and a lot of names still floating around that territory where they have a serious chance of showing what they're made of for this Minnesota Wild roster. But let's get into our first screenshot here. First of all, I want to go over this bit right here. I'll pull some of the big one. Minnesota Wild have assigned forward Caden Bankier, Rasmus Kupalainen, defenseman Carson Lambos, David Spacek, and goaltender Samuel Levi, and Riley Mercer to Iowa of the AHL. Minnesota placed forwards Nico Kubel, Ben Jones, Ben Gleason, and Matt Kierstead on waivers for purpose of assignment to Iowa, and the Wild also released Wyatt Newpower from his PTO. Now, still can go down to Iowa training camp, and that is the plan. That's what he is set to do. But as we go into it, this is a lot of players here, and a lot of younger players that we're trying and going for a very big push to make this roster. However, none of these really, except Carson Lambos, are a surprise. A lot of these players now, like I mentioned, are going to be a great option here throughout the season, and especially as we kind of go on. Carson Lambos, especially in my opinion, was one that I would have been seriously okay with cracking the roster, but at this point right now, it does more seem like Jack Johnson, has cracked this roster and will ultimately end up signing a contract with the Minnesota Wild here, especially with a few injuries that are going on that will linger for a little bit heading into the season. Now, going into another set of moves that were made today, these were made yesterday, but today, the Wild have assigned Bradley Merrick, Riley Haight, and Kyle Masters, and Jack Pert to Iowa in the AHL. The Wild have also released forwards Elliot Desnoyers, Jean-Luc Foudy, Mark Lewinsky, and Ryan Sandelin, and defenseman Mike Koster and Will Smolek from their PTOs. They will also report to training camp in Iowa. Now, this is once again another set of moves, some stuff that we kind of expected here, kind of thinning the herd a little bit, but one thing that is very notable is that there's a few players here who have not yet been named, especially some that are on the cusp. And when we go into these group of players, we could have expected that some of these would have been missing the lineup. A lot of these probably were here just to kind of fight for a spot, but we're really not leading in that category. But when it comes down to the other options, and this is what The Athletic and Michael Russo and Joe Smith both have here, vying for a spot: Danila Yurov, Liam Ogren, Vina Hinostroza, Brett Leeson, Hunter Haight, keep that name in mind, and Tyler Pitlick. And you see Ben Jones and Nico Kubel both there got sent down via waivers and going to be going down to Iowa. Now, with the season opening IR, Matt Zuccarello, and is going to miss significant time is what they have to say here, Michael Milne, and he's not cleared from surgery recovery. If that is the case heading into it, and likely getting cut, Caden Bankier, who ultimately did, and Rasmus Kupalainen did as well. So there are about 6 names here right now that currently stand as options for this team, and Liam Ogren really being the headliner for Matt Zuccarello to take over his place, Danila Yurov being one that we've expected to see, with all signs pointing to him making this roster. But one that stands out, who is having an exceptional training camp and preseason, is Hunter Haight. He's been absolutely fantastic here so far, and he is someone that I think right now, this very moment, on September 29th, 2025, is going to be a very sneaky option to make this team. And going into this year, of course, there was a lot of options. His name was floating around, but was not where it is at the moment. He's been exceeding every expectation that we've seen from him so far throughout this preseason, and it's going to give him and many other players talking about him being given a great option. But all that still currently stands with, will he get an opportunity? Will there be space enough for him? And one thing to take a note of as well is what Joe Smith and Michael Russo kind of put out there about this in the Athletic article about the options that are going to be there for a few other players. Our best guess, Yurov starts the year in Iowa, Ogren and Hinostroza as the 13th forward make the team, but we're starting to really wonder about Hunter Haight if Sturm is not ready for the start of the year. And that opens up right there another option for this Minnesota Wild team. That will we see another player jump in here? And as they say, Tino Yurov starting in the AHL is certainly not a bad idea. Give the kid his confidence, let him go down there. We've seen what he can do. We've seen what he can do in the NHL. Give him that little bit of confidence down there, let him go up here when he gets ready. That's certainly a smart decision. Liam Ogren has been playing very well as well. Seems to have made that, at least in my books right now, made the team. But when it comes to Hunter Haight, if Nico Sturm is not ready, that is a phenomenal option at center. Right-hand shot center. Why not try it? Of course, he's in a bit of a different situation than Danil Yurov. Danil Yurov having all this kind of, attention around him heading into this offseason. Now, to this point right now, expectations to make the team. Hunter Haight has been really flying under the radar. And even though a lot of players right now are still fighting for this spot, trying to earn this spot, we've seen some veterans on this team speak out about him, including Marcus Foligno. He said he's going to be here sooner than later. And when talking about Hunter Haight, that is high praise coming from a guy like Marcus Foligno. And especially knowing what he's done for this team, knowing his role, knowing everything for him on this team, that is quite a bit of praise, and definitely something that you're going to see Hunter Haight take with him heading into the remainder of this preseason and training camp, especially now where we're at the point where anybody could really make this team at this point with the sheer amount of injuries, and although it may not be a lot, the quality and the caliber of players that are going to be out, certainly tough to make up. So if you can even get Hunter Haight for 15 games, playing very, very good, playing at his highest level, ultimately dropping off, then you're going to get one of those guys back. You can send him down to the AHL then. He's still super young, still has an option to be able to be moved, and it's not a bad situation whatsoever, and especially the fact we saw him in Iowa last year at 20 years old, 34 points in 67 games, but going back to his years with Saginaw, he's a phenomenal player, and he's been all over the ice in every single facet. Every part of his game has been, at this point right now in the preseason, and yes, it is the preseason, you're not playing every bit of NHL level talent, but you're playing a lot. He's been able to hold his own and has exceeded a lot of expectations. So I want to know what you guys think about Hunter Haight right now as well, because obviously going into it, he has the mindset, and from what we've been hearing, and we have a quote from him in a moment, he's in the right mindset of being able to make this roster. He's been someone that, in my mind at least, has had that drive and has really been given the opportunity, especially now since his draft year in 2022. He's been getting better and better every single year, and going into this one next year with this upcoming season, I should say, having him jump from the AHL to the NHL would be a very good thing. And, obviously, I don't want to push him. I think right now it's the best opportunity for him at this point to maybe make this roster. Have him alongside Vilena Hinostroza, maybe, and also Liam Ogren. I think those three could really suit out and round up the bottom part of this lineup and this roster here, especially coming down into the later half of the season. I think one example of this is the game against Chicago. They did ultimately lose 4-1, but you see at the top there some very good talent. Tyler Pitlick at the top here, David Spacek, Carson Lambos, Hunter Haight. You even go down a little bit. You got Liam Ogren, Caden Bankier, Danil Yurov. This lineup is playing good with everybody you really want to play good. Few exceptions, of course. Zeev Boyum not really playing great here so far in this preseason, but I'm expecting a bounce back. He's shown it. We've seen him play last year in the postseason against the Vegas Golden Knights. He's been holding his own. He was very good there as well. So this lineup has a lot of options to make, but more moves are coming. More have already been made, and we're going to have some very big decisions coming from John Hynes and Bill Guerin about who is going to make this roster for opening night. So I want to know what you guys think about Hunter Haight. He has really been surprising me in a very good way, and I'm expecting some big things out of him for the remainder of preseason. But that's all I got here in this video. Let me know what you think about all the stuff that we had in this one, but that's all I got. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. I'm signing out, though. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.